Hello, Happy New Year. First of all, my name is Mru Patel. I'm the CEO of Sapian Group and CEO of Flash Group and Partner. And wishing all of you guys a great new year. Hope it's a lot better than what we've just been through in the 2020. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about this latest bull run, especially fueled by the Bitcoin more than doubling within the space of 3 4 weeks and continues to do so, currently sitting at $31,500. So based on that, a lot of the altcoins are getting a lot of momentum. However, many of the community and friends and people I know constantly ask me about XRP because I've been involved in XRPs for at least nearly 4 years now. Okay, so here's my take, and I just prepared some quick fire slides that I'd like to share with you as a news flash. So first and foremost, Ripple is a company. So I want to go through today just who is Ripple, what do they do, what's their products, and why SEC is going through that. And the ultimate question, what people ask, shall I invest in Ripple even now with this lawsuit going on? And is it a good time to buy because the prices have crashed in this bull run from a 70 high to almost a 20? So, that is the question everyone has on their mind now. So let's start sharing this screen. So first and foremost, just a disclaimer, whilst we are a news media, disruptive technologies, community driven channel, all the information given over here should not be taken as investment advice. So do your own research, and all the information provided here is my view of what is happening in the market. And today we're going to cover XRP specifically. Okay. So let's look at XRP, just Ripple, some facts. Okay. So the company Ripple has a product, and they created this real-time gross settlement system and a currency with some remittance network. And this was done 2012. So you can imagine soon after Bitcoin was released, around the same time. So the big thing that they did with the blockchain and crypto space was, they built Ripple with various products that I will cover in a minute. But the main thing was a payment system, and it supported fiat, it supported cryptos, and any form of commodities as well, or units of value. So you could even trade with or transact using mobile phone units or air miles, anything that's got value. And then the native currency would be XRP as the crypto in its ledger. Okay. The big differentiator that XRP always brag about is that, it has signed now, lots of hundreds of banks, and it's already doing cross-border payment services, and it's already doing transactions at extremely fast speeds compared to, if you used to Bitcoin or Ethereum, things along those lines. So, they claim they can do transactions in less than 5 seconds. The average is between 3 and 4. And the transaction throughput, which is the other big differentiator, is very, very scalable. So most of the crypto space, they cannot handle that form of transaction throughput. So currently, Ripple can handle between 15 and 20,000, but they said they can really scale this up to even 70,000 and 100,000 to compete with the visas of the world, because what they're really doing is disrupting, and that's the challenge that everyone has. So Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other altcoins cannot put their heads around Ripple because it's part centralized, part decentralized, and it's actually disrupting the traditional banks, and most importantly, Swift and other cross-border payment systems like we know from the Western Unions, MoneyGrams, etc. So what it's established itself is by embracing some of these payment providers that exist today, rather than what traditional crypto market is doing, is attacking them almost head on. So with the CBDC, the central banking digital currency coming up with cross-border payments, and we'll get into that in a minute as well. Ripple is helping countries like the UK and Japan and a few other countries to be that media to do cross-border transactions purely because of its throughput, speed, and very low cost of transactions. It's 0.004 cents per transaction, and it's instant. So why not? Whilst the SWIFT, MoneyGrams, Western Unions, and all these other payment remittance companies charge a fortune, and it takes days. Okay, so main point over here is the SEC issue, and we'll get into the detail later. SEC actually filed a complaint and a lawsuit on Ripple back in May 2018. But just last month in December, it filed an official lawsuit against the founders, alleging that they were selling their holdings. And there's no defense about this. The CEOs, Brad and Larson, and founders have been offloading a lot of their coins. Now, to me, it's like any founder in most crypto companies that are startups, they're always offloading some of their coins back in for the liquidity for their own personal reasons, for whatever they may be. And they still hold a vast majority of the holding still in their possession. So it's not like they've dumped it and run away. From what I see and hear, and I've been following them for 4 years, they are fully committed to make this happen. So the SEC thing is a fight, and it largely is to do with what I call rules that are not written clearly on how crypto business in US is regulated. I think a lot of it stems around that. So if there were clear rules and clear guidelines of how cryptocurrencies are treated and executed, and transactions are handled, and how the KYC AML is done, then Ripple would not have this issue. So we'll go into that in a minute. But in my view, the XRP lawsuit is probably the biggest digital lawsuit with SEC this decade, if not century. And it will affect all the altcoins, and maybe even Bitcoin and Ethereum being the two major leaders out there. So this lawsuit has got eyeballs from everywhere around the world, and we see many people like the Japanese banks, UK, etc., backing it all up. We'll cover that in a minute again. But let's see what the core product is. A lot of people think XRP is the only product. However, what Ripple have is quite a few products actually. Let's focus on the two main core products. One is RippleNet. And what RippleNet does, it provides the liquidity for doing cross-border payments and transactions at very, very low cost and very instantaneous transactions and transfers. So if you're a MoneyGram, if you're a Visa, American Express, if you're a bank and you want to send money across the borders, then they use RippleNet, and some of them, very few at the moment, however, use XRP as the liquidity provider as well. And Ripple X is then also a product for the developer community, for platforms, for people to implement micro payments and e-commerce and P2P types of services, remittance services like that. So people who want to build these fintech types of solutions use Ripple X as well for their own systems and services. Okay. Oops, jumped a little bit too far there. Right. Let's see now what Ripple stands to disrupt. Okay. It's pretty clear. XRP has already been, FinCEN compliant, and they got their licensing in New York 2016. So as a currency, it's already licensed. However, it's a disruptor for payments, and it affects a lot of industries, and that's why SEC and all of the world is keeping their eyes on this. And the people it's actually disrupting is the banks, because retail banks as we know it is really being disrupted, especially Swift, okay? Because it costs too much and it takes longer. The next thing it's disrupting is all these remittance services I mentioned earlier, the Western Unions, the MoneyGrams, and things along those lines. And in certain countries like in Africa, you have the M-Pesa, Easy Pay, and a lot of these who charge phenomenal amount of fees, and in the past have been known to charge anything from 5 to 20% for just doing a simple remittance to someone who is unbanked or underbanked. And whilst they take advantage of it, I'm really against it. I see Ripple disrupting that. Okay, it also disrupts, if you think, the credit cards and debit card industry. So where Visa does settlements after so long, and where they charged 2%, 4%, 3%, 6% for MX cases, it's very, very high for merchants to sustain. And who loses at the end of the day is us, the consumers, us, the clients as well. So what Ripple and XRP are doing there, as well as MX being one of the earlier adopters for this, is to do those fast payments and settlements cross borders anywhere you are. The next big one is and there's quite a lot of these, is a foreign exchange types of companies. So where you can instantaneously settle and instantaneously do buy sell of any fiat currency, coupled with sending it out to people. Then you could be traveling anywhere in the world and convert your XRP into the local currency at almost interbanking rates, rather than what you get at Travelex and people like that. So those guys are starting to collaborate. So what do Ripple do, and trying to fight all of these people? They're embracing them. If you can't beat them, join them. So they're embracing them and partnering with all of these guys that I've mentioned above. And their strategy has not been like head on fight like the altcoins and the main cryptocurrencies out there. They're actually embracing the big banks, the MXs, the Western Unions, the MoneyGrams, investing in them, as well as using the RippleNet and the XRP token as a way to help them reduce their costs, increase their speeds, and bring value to the client. So, different strategy. Now, let's dig into this SEC case, okay? What do I think? The digital currency lawsuit of the decade, if not the century. That's really big. So in June, as I said, in 2016, Ripple had filed and obtained a virtual currency license from a New York State, the Department for Financial Service. So it is licensed, and it was the fourth company with the bit license. So it's not like they did anything against the law to do things that a lot of the cryptocurrencies and exchanges are doing. So they were cleaner than clean, starting from day one as much as they could be, based on what I said earlier, what the guidelines SEC had put down, rules, regulations, and things along those lines. And because of the lack of those, they did, within those boundaries, general business, and grew that momentum to be the third largest cryptocurrency on the planet. So the role of the SEC to protect the consumers, but whilst trying to play, the good cop over here, they haven't, because what's now happened by doing this lawsuit is majority of the consumers out there have really, really lost a lot of their holding and have lost a lot of the trading capabilities, because what's happening is many people who bought it based on what Ripple is doing and rolling out, and I'll cover some of that in a minute, especially with what they did with the Spark and the token for helping doing exchange based oh, my brain's gone dead. Exchange based transactions with smart contracts with the Spark and the Flare network. Then Ripple, in my view, has a fantastic future, because now we'll come into the mainstay in a decentralized way and have cross platform Ethereum based swaps and transactions and all those smart contract based things that we see from the DeFi momentum. And now with XRP and Spark, we will see them coming into that market. But the main gripe for SEC about Ripple is the owners selling their coins at huge amounts and releasing it on a monthly basis to trade, to give it as an incentive financial institutions. So that's where their main gripe is, and they think they are using it as an equity security, and that's one of the lawsuit contention. So we don't know who's right, who's wrong, but that side of things, I must admit, SEC is right, is the way the Ripple owners and CEOs control that large share and drip feed it into the market for the next, I think, 3 years left or whatever it is, right? So what's happened in that lawsuit now is all these exchanges, especially the real big ones like the Coinbases, Krakens, Binance US, etc., have said, if you're a US citizen and you're based in US, we're going to freeze all trading on XRP. You don't lose your coins, but you cannot trade it. You can take it out. You can move it to an exchange that will still allow you to trade, etc. But what's happening is a lot of the exchanges around the world now have said if you're a U.S. citizen or someone who is based in the U.S. Wanting to trade XRP, then we won't be accommodating that. And that's kind of like tanked it from us 70 cents to almost 21, 22 cents when I last looked at it. So that is quite ironic because why after 4 years since they were issued a license by FinCEN, why now? Why is SEC really suing Ripple and its founders now when this stuff's been happening for some time and they all know about it? And I have some views of why now and why Ripple is going through this. And I think it's going through it based on what some of the other old coins will also face. And I can see SEC going after those as well. But they've chosen to go to Ripple for many reasons because, it's the big one. So they want to set a precedence on that. My view on this, it's a political angle as well because there is a huge Cold War going on between US and China currently, and it's brewing very, very fast. It's largely to do with, I mentioned earlier, the CBDC threat. So, where a lot of countries rather, are doing central banking digital currencies like the Chinas with its yuan, Thailand, Korea, Japan, Russia, Germany, Switzerland, UK, etc., are all looking at it. And some of them, including UK, are also looking at XRP to be that technology for their own CDBC through their Bank of England, right? So that project started as well last year. So those countries have already accepted XRP as a currency. So why is USA now calling it a security when it's got a currency license? So that doesn't stand well with me. So, as I say, it's the political angle. So China started its digital transition 6 years ago, 2014 to be precise. And this digital one, the DCEP, digital currency electronic payments, sorry, has had a pilot running for almost a year now, if not over a year in China. And now in 4 cities, it's already proven that they think this technology has a lot of benefits and it is proven it does work for all the electronic small payments, transfers, and things along those lines rather than going through the middleman banking system. However, China also has its what I call cons or flaws because what they will do is it is controlled centrally and it isn't a digital transaction, decentralized currency rather, like we know it in a decentralized environment. So you will be monitored and it will be a big brother type of approach. So people will be policed, for one of better words, on what they're spending, how they're spending, who they're spending on, times, and all these things. So it's a way of government controlling their economy, their inflows and outflows, and imports and exports, and foreign direct investments, local spend, all these things through this technology. So that's one reason they're doing it. Other countries are not looking at it to control, but there is an element for that. Russia, for sure, is doing similar things. Okay, so what the US is really worried about in this Cold War, where the rest of the world is saying, who the hell is America? We are getting on with this because we see the benefits of it and we want to see if we can embrace it because it's not a fad anymore. If the momentum is there and digital currency is already proven to have its benefits, and so has blockchain technology that underlies all of these coins. So they are scared of the future role of its central bank, the treasuries, all the financial authorities, all the governing bodies, and they're worried about them. And to be blunt about it, it's a lot of jobs at risk because this technology cuts the middleman. And so, the fall of the retail banks, I've been saying it for 5 years, is going to happen with 50% off within 5 years. And we're already seeing it. So a lot of these middleman types of companies, banks, financial institutions will be disrupted to a level beyond belief. And what COVID has done now during lockdown has even really exaggerated the whole need for remote working, remote payments, financial transfers across the border at the lowest cost, at the fastest speed. So that whole lockdown, COVID type of thing has made people think even harder now of what the new world will really look like. So America is worried about that. The main reason it's worried as well, because what has America really got? What's the biggest power they have? Is their dollar, the greenback. So the greenback handles 70% of the world's transaction. Everyone trades on dollar currencies across the world for major transactions. And this is 7 trillion plus per day. So imagine if that was replaced through alternative digital currencies, what that threat is all about. Now, I'm not saying Ripple, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all these other altcoins will replace it, but they are already cutting into that space over the last 2 years, and it will grow exponentially over the next 5 years. Okay, so that is the worry that US has, and that is why SEC is also going after Ripple to make a point to say, hang on, let's pull some reins. And Libra is facing similar things, and Libra will face even stronger uh, uh, scrutiny based on what comes out of this lawsuit as well. Okay, so XRP supported by foreign banks, I think it's a plus, and they've already said it, especially the big Japanese SBI bank and other banks around the world are already saying, we've been calling this a currency, it's not a security. My view, there will be a happy media struck between all of these, and let's get to that in a minute, okay? So the big question is, do I invest in Ripple? Let's take it how it's been, okay? Ripple, pre the big crash that happened 2 years ago, it reached to $3, okay? And then when all the coins and crypto market crashed, largely to do with some of the other naysayers rubbishing the technology, like the Jamie Dimons and various other banks and people along those lines, and it crashed down to 15, 14, 10 cents, 12 cents. It hovered around the 18 to 24 cents for a long time, okay? Until last month, where what happened was with the Flare network and the launch of the Spark airdrop, they saw big momentum in people just buying because what Ripple did was they invested in that Flare network to develop that Flare XRP protocol, which gives the Spark tokens an added value with DeFi based functionality and to the XRP ledger itself. So, what Ripple has done there is a very good move because now it can not only compete, but it can also collaborate with the Ethereum types of smart contracts and other DeFi projects and have their own other followers developing DeFi based projects based on Ripple Spark, right? So the best case scenario, the way I see it, is that as the currency and the price, I see that when this SEC case is resolved, XRP will catch up. What do I mean by resolve? Because if XRP or Ripple win the court case to say, look, we are a currency, look at the rest of the world and the rest of the governments, rest of the world's banks, etc., they've already accepted us. We are a currency, we are not a security. Okay, that's a win. If SEC accept that, because they don't have any rules to follow or regulations to that fine level. So Ripple have a chance to win that side of the lawsuit. And when they do that, it will do an enormous exponential jump. In my view, it can even go from $2 to $5. But $2 in the short term could happen in this catch up of the rest of the bull market, because it's already hit $3 before as an all time high. And with the XRP Spark thing, by middle of next year, this is very, very, very achievable, and catch up with the rest. What's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is they sue them, SEC wins, and there'll be a big battle. Most of the altcoins that have got any fine line, whether it's a security or not, will also crash, and SEC wins that side of the battle. However, XRP has, or Ripple has a lot of XRPs, and they'll just pay the fine. People will forget about it, and then it'll move on, and they will operate against the new laws, the new regulations that are put out there. So they lose, but they will adopt new regulations, new laws, pay a chunk of fine. They've got tons of hundreds of millions of XRP tokens already, so they can easily buy themselves whatever the fine is, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million. They'll be able to buy this without much problem as such. Next would be, how long would this take? Well, so far we've only heard from the SEC's side. So Ripple have not responded to this lawsuit, and they are saying that in February they will respond to it point by point in clear terms, what they've done, how they've done it, why it's a currency, and justify their side of the story. That February date is very, very key. Okay? So, bottom line, the way I look at it is, in both cases, even if they lose the case, they will settle up, pay a fine, adopt a new guidelines. They still win. They are not going away. If they win overall, they win for the rest of the crypto industry, because it's not only about Ripple. And I think either scenario is a win-win. So what do you do? I say stay calm, and if it hits even below 20, I would say buy, so personally, I don't see that Ripple will become zero. Okay, I cannot see that happening. So based on that, either scenario for me is still a win-win. So it's just a matter of time whether it goes hockey stick up or slow up, but it will go up. It's only depends on how long this court case takes and what their counter argument is in February. So until February, you will see a lot of volatility. Until February, I see a lot of banks and countries supporting Ripple and saying, hey, hang on, this is a currency, because we're already adopting it as a currency. We have researched and reviewed it much, much, much more strictly than what SEC have done. Let's be honest, banks, hundreds of banks are using it as a currency. So, for cross-border payments. So, a lot of other coins are doing the same thing. Why not them? With that, I say stay calm, buy if it's below your sweet spot requirement, but do your own due diligence. I hope this has been useful. Thank you.